Hey guys, I'm back with the third video of the video series on why do we fall ill class 9th science, and in this video our agenda would be to talk about the means of spread of infectious diseases, and we will also spend some time talking about the treatment of diseases. So, are we ready to learn? Let's get started.
So now the question is, how does the knowledge of infectious agents help us to decide the treatment of a particular disease? Right? That's what I was asking in the previous slide also, that what is the need of knowing all these things? Why do we want to know that which microorganism causes which disease? That's because it's going to help us in treatment. Now the question is how? Now, different microbes have many similarities and many dissimilarities as well. Now, let us suppose if a person is suffering from a disease, right? Now, if you go to the doctor will have to give a medicine that should affect the microorganism which is responsible for that disease, right? So now, since it is not that all the microbes are of similar types. When we talk about bacteria, fungi, virus, everybody has some similarities, some differences as well, right? So it is not necessary that a drug which is effective to kill bacteria will also be effective to kill virus. So in order to decide which drug will cure which disease, we should know which is the microbe that is responsible for this disease. Now, if we know the microbe which is causing the disease, then we can choose a drug which can kill that particular microbe. Now, when I talk of the similarities and differences, let us take an example. For example, virus, bacteria, fungi, all of these, they multiply very fast. So very fast they will grow in number. On the other hand, when we talk of worms do not multiply very fast. They multiply very slowly. Right? So if there is a disease which is caused by virus or bacteria, their number inside the body will keep increasing very fast. But in case of worms, it is not like that. So this is one difference between worms and bacteria, virus, fungi. Right? So a drug which is effective to worm will not be effective for bacteria, right? Because their properties are different. Similarly, there are differences between bacteria and viruses as well, or bacteria and fungi as well. So that is why we should know the infectious agents which cause a particular disease so that we can treat the disease accordingly. So different microbes have different life processes. So different drugs affect these different life processes. Now, what do you think these drugs actually do? These drugs will actually try to break the life process. Right? For example, for human beings, we have a life process, right? So if you take a poisonous substance which will actually stop your life process, that human being will die. Right? So similarly, in case of this also, different types of drugs will affect the different types of life processes which is shown by different types of microbes. Now, for example, let us look at a bacterial infection and a viral infection. Now, let us suppose if a person is suffering from some disease which is an infection of bacteria, and another person is suffering from some disease which is a viral infection. That means it is caused by virus. So how will they be treated? Now let us take an example of a common drug, say antibiotics. We all know about antibiotics, right? It often happens that we fall ill, we have fever for a couple of days, we take antibiotics and the fever goes off, right? So you all are familiar with antibiotics, right? Now let us suppose if you take antibiotics, how will the antibiotics react to a bacterial infection and how will it react to a viral infection? Now, it is seen that antibiotics affect bacterial infection. That means antibiotics are able to treat bacterial infection, but they do not treat viral infection. Why is it so? It is because of the difference in life processes between a bacteria and a virus. Now, in case of bacteria, what happens? This is a bacteria, right? Now, bacteria during their growth, this is a bacteria and this is a virus. Now, it is seen that a bacteria during its growth, it develops a cell wall around itself. We all know what is a cell wall. We have learned about this in the lesson on cell, right? So the bacteria develops a cell wall around itself during its growth, and this cell wall acts as a protective covering for the bacteria, right? Now what does the antibiotics do? The antibiotics blocks the building of the cell wall. So as soon as you take the antibiotic, the bacteria becomes incapable of building the cell wall. Now if the bacteria is not able to build the cell wall, what is happening? Gradually the bacteria will die, because cell wall was the one which was protecting the bacteria. Now there is no cell wall, so the bacteria will die, right? And that is what is happening. Let us suppose this person, he is taking an antibiotic and he is suffering from a bacterial infection. That means we are assuming that there are bacteria inside his body. Now when he takes this antibiotic, what happens? It goes inside, it stops the bacteria from building the cell wall, and as a result eventually the bacteria dies, right? Now let us suppose that if he takes the same antibiotic when he has a viral infection. So now you see inside his body we can see viruses. Now again he takes the same antibiotic. So what do you think will happen this time? So now when the antibiotic will go inside, it will have no effect, because the viruses, they do not build cell wall around them, and the antibiotics have the capability to block building up of cell wall. So in viruses there are no cell wall at all, therefore the antibiotics will not have any effect on the viral infection. So you saw that if the infection or the cause of the disease is bacteria, antibiotics will help. So here antibiotics help. But if the disease is because of a viral infection, then antibiotics won't help, right? So now you understand that every drug also has a specific property. For example, antibiotic also has a specific property that what they can do, they are capable of blocking the process that builds cell wall. So it can be effective for all such diseases which are caused by those kind of bacteria which builds cell wall as a life process. Now even in bacteria, as I mentioned before also, that there are many different species of bacteria, and it is not that all the species of bacteria follow the same life processes. There will be some species which will not be affected by the antibiotics, right? So this antibiotics will be helpful only for those species of bacteria which build a cell wall during their growth, right? So that is why it is often seen that, let us suppose you get cold, cough and fever, and it is not becoming okay. So even if you take antibiotics, if it is caused because of viral infection, the antibiotics will not help you. The antibiotics will not make you feel better. Now let us suppose if there is bacteria as well as virus inside your body, then the antibiotics will help, but it will only help to cure the bacterial infection. The viral infection will still be there, right? So now you understand why do we need to know what are the microbes which cause the specific diseases. Because if we know the particular microbe responsible for the disease, then we can give a specific medicine which can kill that particular microbe, right? So sometime back I was talking about that this infectious diseases, they spread from one person to another. How do they spread? Because the bacteria or the microorganisms which cause these diseases, they get transferred from one person to another. Now how do they get transferred from one person to another? There are very ways by which they are spread from one person to another, and these different ways are known as means of spread. So now we will be talking about the various ways by which the infection can spread. So ways by which infection can spread from one person to another is known as means of spread. So here we will talk about the various ways by which the infection can actually spread. So some of them are air, water, direct and indirect contact, sexual contact, and vectors. So these are some of the medium through which the infection can spread. It can spread through air or water, or direct contact with the infected person, indirect contact with this infected person, sexual contact with the infected person, as well as through vectors. So you might be wondering, what are vectors in biology? Because you would have studied about vectors in physics maybe, but not in biology. So we will talk about each of these one by one in the next slide. Okay, so let us first talk about air. So how infection spreads through air. Now, droplets thrown by an infected person during coughing or sneezing, where do those droplets go? You would have seen that when you sneeze, what happens? Small droplets of water comes out of your mouth. So where do those droplets go? They remain suspended in air. Now, if there is some other person who is sitting very near to you, he will inhale. So when he inhale, sometimes those droplets of water which are present in the air might get inside his body through his nose, right? So that is how that person might get infected, right? So if you look at this picture, you will get an idea how badly when a person coughs or sneezes, the infection spreads all around in the air. So here you can see that this person is sneezing and there are some small droplets, some bigger droplets. So what happens to the bigger droplets? The bigger droplets settle to the ground in a few seconds, because since they are heavier, so they generally tend to fall back immediately. The smaller droplets, they evaporate to droplet nuclei in this zone. So there are some small droplets who will remain suspended in air. There is still some droplets which will be carried in air, and they will fall somewhere around at a distance of 4 meters from where the person is standing. So that means in the vicinity of an infected person, there is a huge scope of another person getting infected, because those small droplets which come, because when we generally suffer from some diseases like common cold, we tend to sneeze or cough very often. So every time we sneeze or cough, we are actually suspending those infected droplets in the air all around us. So people coming in that area might get infected, right? So that is why we have observed that when we sit near someone with common cold, we tend to catch cold. Like suppose if you spend a lot of time with somebody who is having cold, you also tend to get that cold, because these droplets carry the microbes which can enter our body and cause infection. So some of the examples are common cold, pneumonia, tuberculosis. If you look at it, in all these diseases, the patient has a tendency to cough, sneeze, or if you have cold, you will see that some watery fluid will come out of your nose. So everything will carry the infection, right? Now the next means of spread is water. So how does infection spread? Through water. Now excreta of infected person sometimes might get mixed with the drinking water, and if somebody consumes that drinking water, that person might also get infected. So in this case, it feels so yucky when you read this, that excreta of some person is getting mixed with your drinking water. So this will happen only when you are not very sure if the water which you are drinking is clean and safe enough, right? So that is why it is always advised that you can either use AquaGuard in order to purify the water, or you can even use the water filters, or sometimes you can even boil the water and make it good enough and safe to be drunk, right? Because it often happens that there maybe in some slum area, so people excrete, and those excreta is gone and thrown away somewhere. Now where you are throwing that, maybe that area is from where your drinking water supply comes, right? So there is a possibility that your water gets mixed with excreta of infected person. So the water is actually carrying those microbes, and when you drink that water, the microbes enter your body. Examples of diseases which are caused through water are cholera, typhoid, hepatitis, because all these diseases occur when you drink unclean water. So how will microbes come into water? It comes from some infected persons only, right? So these diseases are known as waterborne diseases, and the diseases which are caused via air are known as airborne diseases. So they are often known as airborne diseases, and these are known as waterborne borne diseases. Right? So in order to prevent the diseases like cholera, typhoid and hepatitis A, you should ensure that the drinking water supplies are safe and clean. The next one is direct and indirect contact. So what do we mean by direct and indirect contact? Now, if a healthy person stays in contact with the infected person, so in contact, you can be in direct contact with the person. How? By handshakes, or by touching that person, or by kissing that person. These are some of the means by which you are in direct touch or direct contact of the infected person, and there is a possibility that the microbes can get transferred from the infected person to the healthy person. Or what do we mean by indirect contact? Indirect contact means you are not touching that person directly, but you are touching the things which are used by the infected person. Maybe the shirt which was worn by the infected person, you go and wear the same shirt. Or maybe the infected person drank water in a glass and you are using the same glass to drink water, right? So by using things which are used by the infected person, so that is known as indirect contact. So there are many such diseases which get spread by this means. For example, ringworm, conjunctivitis, head lice and skin infections. So head lice is one common example which all of you must be aware of. You would have seen that it mostly happens with girls because they have long hair, right? So when you get lice in your hair, how do you feel? You always feel like scrubbing your head. You feel irritation in your head, right? And now let us suppose if there is a girl who has lice on her hair. Now if you stay in touch with that person, there is a possibility that the lice can come from her body to your body, and then it can climb up to your hair, and that is how you get lice in your hair, right? So it is either by direct contact. Maybe you touched her hair and you got a lice, or maybe you wore a jacket which she was wearing and that jacket had a lice, and then when you wore that jacket, maybe the lice climb up to your hair. So that is how you can get lice. Similarly, conjunctivitis. What is conjunctivitis? It is a kind of infection in your eye. So what happens? The eye becomes red, it swells up, and there is continuously water flows out of the eye, and there is kind of itching in your eye. So people say that if you touch that a person's eye who is having conjunctivitis, you also tend to get conjunctivitis, and it actually happens. That is why we often see that those who are suffering from conjunctivitis, they generally wear a black glass so that the conjunctivitis is not visible and it does not spread to other people, right? Similarly, ringworm and other skin infections, because something which is on the skin, if you touch your skin with the skin of the infected person, you might get those kind of infections also. So by directly touching an infected person or by using the things used by the infected person, you tend to get some kind of infections. The next one is sexual contact. As I mentioned before also, sex is something which brings lot of intimation between two persons, and there can be lot of transfer of microbes during the process. So sexual act with an infected person can actually infect a healthy person. So examples of such diseases are AIDS and syphilis, as I mentioned before also. AIDS is not only... Now, another thing to be noted here is AIDS spreads through sexual contact, but it does not spread through casual contact. That means if there is a person who is suffering from AIDS, if you touch that person, or if you handshake with that person, or if you wear a jacket which is worn by that person, AIDS will not happen to you. That's because AIDS spreads only through sexual contact and not through direct and indirect contact. In some small villages and towns, people often have this myth that if somebody is suffering from AIDS, just isolate him from the society completely, do not talk to him, do not keep any relation with him. But it is not like that. It should not happen like that. You should not isolate a person that way just because he is suffering from a disease, because it will infect you only when you have sexual contact with that person. By touching him or by going close to him, you will not get that disease, right? So AIDS and syphilis are some diseases which are transmitted through sex, And also AIDS can also get transmitted through blood to blood transfusion, which often happens if injections are not used properly. And also there is another possibility that when a lady who is suffering from AIDS is pregnant, so there is a possibility that the virus can get transmitted to the newborn baby, right? So these are some of the ways by which AIDS get transmitted. The last one is vectors. So what are vectors? This term is very common in physics, but in biology sometimes people think, what are vectors? So now insects or animals which act as carrier of infection from infected to healthy person. So now this infection, as I said, the infection can transfer from infected to healthy person by air, water, direct or indirect contact, sexual contact. Similarly, it can also happen that there are some carriers, some insects or animals carry that infection from the infected person to the healthy person. The most common and the best example is mosquito. Mosquito act as a vector, and it causes deadly diseases like malaria, dengue and chikungunya. What does the mosquito do? The mosquito, it sucks blood from the body of people, right? So now it can go and suck blood from an infected person. So what happened? That blood will have those infection, it will have those microbes. Now when it goes back and again sucks blood from a healthy person, those microbes can get transmitted to the healthy person. So that is why mosquito act as a carrier of infection. It carries infection from an infected person to a healthy person and cause these deadly diseases. Another example is dog. The dog itself act as a carrier of infection. You would have heard of a disease called rabies, which often happens due to dog bite. So when a dog bites a person, sometimes what happens is the virus which causes this rabies gets transmitted from the dog to the body of that person, and as a result that person gets infected with rabies. Right? So in this case, dog does not only acts as a vector, dog actually is the carrier of that infection. Dog himself has that virus, just that when he bites a person, he transfers that virus to that person. So that is why dog is often considered as a rabid animal, because it causes this disease, rabies. Right, so you would have seen that people who have pet dogs at their homes, they often will give them that injection, so that if that dog bites somebody, it does not cause rabies. Right? Okay, so these are some of the ways by which the infectious disease can spread from an infected person to a healthy person. So keeping in mind all the diseases, what kind of disease a person is suffering from, we should take proper precaution. If a person is suffering from an infectious disease which can spread by direct or indirect contact, we should try to avoid those kind of contact with that person. If that person is suffering from something which will not be transmitted through direct contact, in that case it is not needed to isolate that person. Right? So these are some of the means of spread of infectious disease.
So children, what do you have to say about this video? If you have a feedback, do not forget to write it in the comment section, because we eagerly wait to read your comments. And if you really liked the video, do not forget to share it with your friends, so that your friends can also enjoy learning. So keep learning, keep enjoying, stay safe, stay home and stay healthy. I will meet you all very soon with a new video, with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.